Hello, one and all, and welcome to another episode of Baggers Chat. My name is Mitch Pattinson, and as always, we are joined by Ethan Daffy, and today we are previewing Carlton v Port Adelaide at Marvel Stadium Saturday night this week. I just thought we'll start off very quickly that we have had some audio issues today, so it probably will be a little bit of a shorter episode than usual, but at least we can try and get something out. I think everyone can understand if it is a little bit of a shorter preview because we are shit at the moment, Daffy boy, but we obviously still need to come on, and also because we enjoy coming on. But it is a little bit shorter because we are a bit low on time this morning. But Daffy boy, I'll throw straight to you. How are you? I know that you've had some audio issues, so you're probably not overly happy at the moment. But first things first, mate. How are you?
No, I'm good, mate. It's a bit of a whirlwind of a morning, technology-wise. Sorry, that's not English, Ethan. But, no, I'm feeling good, mate. Obviously, there's been a fair bit of news in the Carlton circle the last probably few days, really. Not last week, probably the last few days. In terms of Graeme Wright's decisions and players coming back from injury, but it's a clash. Probably we're not all counting the days still, but hopefully we get a win this weekend.
Yeah, spot on. We probably will try and fly through our initial segments because I think it's good to try and touch on some of the things that you just said then about obviously Graeme Wright and that whole conversation, and him. He will obviously be in office on Friday this week. So that's also another story, but also he had an interview with the Carlton media manager. So that will be quite, I mean, I don't know if you've seen that interview. I've seen it. I watched it last night, and the way that he speaks, one of my mates last night even sent me a message saying that is not a guy that runs a business. That is a guy that runs a football club.
Yep.
Like there's just there is a huge difference with what we've seen the past few years with leaders of our football club from a corporate point of view. And that, to me, that really stood out with how good he is from a football-based point of view, not just a business point of view. But I guess we'll touch on that sort of whole conversation. I'll throw straight to you. I assume you have seen the interview, but if not, I'm sure you would have seen some of the things that has come out from that interview. But what was your initial thoughts hearing all of that? Because I'm very, very excited for 2026. I know we all have to look forward to new sort of positives coming our way because it's just been such a poor season. But hearing that, it must kind of comfort you a little bit heading into next year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got me very excited for next year. Not just, on the field, but also the changes he probably will make off the field too. And like I messaged you the other day, I just liked his openness, and he's not hiding away. He's wanting to get a job done and get to work and get better ASAP. Clearly he's read the list, and that was probably the biggest point for me when he goes, we don't have enough good players. And I think that's also saying that, we can't really afford to get rid of our A graders. Like, it's so hard to get players like that. I don't think it would be beneficial to get rid of, and obviously TDK is gone, but the players in contract, I don't think that's going to be a beneficial thing to do. And that would set us back maybe 1 or 2 years, in my opinion. I think if we get rid of those guys, unless, you get some sort of stupid return. But yeah, loved his openness. He had a press conference. He was on the radio. He had a Carlton interview. So he wasn't afraid to speak about their decisions, and especially the Lloyd decision, which and I respected Brad Lloyd. I think, he finishes up in 2 weeks, so he had the option to just go straight away, but he wants to finish his work in 2 weeks, which I respect a lot, because losing your job, I know it's a public landscape where everyone's jobs are in the public spotlight, but he's a human and he's losing his job, and he's willing to work out his tenure.
Yeah, well, that's another thing that's happened as well with like there's so many things that has happened in the past, probably since our review episode on Saturday night. with obviously Brad Lloyd, and now he's been speaking about the assistants. Some of these assistants are out of contract at the end of this year. Yep. So now there's a lot of sort of like things that we kind of expect will happen, but hearing from the guy that actually is going to make it happen is quite crazy in my mind. But we'll kind of move on straight away, Dave Boyd, to the injury list. And I want this to kind of intertwine with something that I want to mention. So we've had an update with Adam Cerra, and unfortunately he's out for the season with that knee injury. So it's probably good that he can get himself a bit of a break and then heading into the start of preseason, get himself 100% right, because I don't think there's really any other excuses, really. I know that last year he went to Dubai and all that stuff, him training over there and trying to work out exactly what was wrong with his hamstrings, but now he's had a knee injury. I don't want to hear any other stuff heading into preseason. I don't want to hear any other injury issues with Adam Cerra. I just want him to get 100% right. But other than that, there's no real update other than the guy that I'm about to mention, probably to an extent, even Harry Lemmy as well. He's a test this week, but we don't know if he will be featured or not. But a certain guy is Paul Walsh. So he is a test this week, and by all means, he is pretty much 100% ready to go. So we'll now transition Daffy Boy into our ins and outs. And I do want to try and touch on this before we touch on our initial, like our actual ins and outs. So heading into this week, so Sam Walsh, you know that he's 100% ready to go. Do you think you would play him for the last 2 games of the season knowing his injury history? Or do you think you would literally just say, I know from a Sam Walsh point of view, he would be wanting to play this week to finish the season with some football in hand. But from like your mindset as a supporter and caring so much about Sam Walsh, do you want him to be featured for the rest of the season, knowing that they are dead rubbers and knowing the risk of if he is out there and he gets injured again, that could kind of impact his start to the preseason for next year, which is a very, very important season next year, 2026.
Yeah, it is extremely scary to think about that he plays these 2 dead rubbers. But I also look at it as if we're all going to look towards 2026, I think playing, it's a tough call because if he gets injured, then people will go, why do we do it? And then if he doesn't get injured, people go, oh, that was great, so he can get ready for next year. That's kind of the boat I'm in, that he'll be ready for next year. If he plays these last, I know he probably will be ready for next year if he doesn't play these 2 games. He's an ultimate professional and a great footballer. But yeah, I just feel like with Walsh, I just think it's a mental thing as well. So, play these last 2 games, and then when he gets to round 1 next year, that's not his return game. So everyone's, talking about it because we're going to have enough fucking returns into round 1 next year with, whether it's Kemp or Jagger Smith or whoever. There's going to be a few guys in there. So you don't want a whole load of players, coming back from serious injuries into round 1. Like, that's just my thinking mentally. And it gets him a few games, like you said. And, they're 2 nice games to come and play in. Like, you're not playing top teams. You're playing Port Adelaide and Essendon. So get a few easy touches and hopefully a couple of wins. And, hopefully gets in the preseason uninjured, Patto.
Yeah, well, I'm also looking at it at a few other names that could probably be featured round 1 for their returning games, as you said. Nick Newman's another one.
Yeah,
it's crazy how many, and then also Matt Cottrell is another one, like Charlie Curnow as well. I know that Charlie hasn't been out for as long as those names, but it is actually quite interesting knowing that heading into next year, like round 1, knowing that we had a very poor finish to this year, but knowing that round 1, there's a lot of guys that aren't new to the club. Like, they've been around the club for so long, but it pretty much will feel like a new team. Well, hopefully they have a full preseason, all that stuff. But I like looking at the injury list and seeing the names on that injury list kind of comforts me just a little bit because knowing that probably all of those guys, if not 1 or 2, would be in our best 22, 100%, no doubt. So that kind of comforts me a little bit. And back to what Wright was saying about kind of prioritizing our top end talent and making sure that they don't go, but then building depth around that sort of group of probably, I think he classified it as the big five, which is obviously
Yes.
Cripps,
Yep.
Walsh, Wittering, Mackay, Kerno. So that's the
Yep.
five. And two of those guys, even three with Walsh as well, Kerno, Mackay, and Walsh have been kind of spoken about if they will be at the club next year. But I think that just shows that there's absolutely no chance of them going. They're not even on the trade table. And I love when the interviewer asked Wright about if these guys will be at the club next year. He's like, yep, they're contracted and they're required. And I was like, yeah, that's the most Graeme Wright answer you can ever hear.
Yeah, he doesn't hold back, does he? That's why I loved what he was speaking about, and we have a good laugh about it. But the reason why we're laughing about it is because we haven't really seen this type of talk. There's a lot of other clubs that do it, but he has just come out on the front foot. He knows he hasn't been a CEO before. So he's been in other footy roles, and he knows that if he starts on the right foot at a massive club, that he can, hopefully put us in the correct trajectory upwards rather than downwards, which we were this year. But yeah, in terms of what you said with the players out, you are right. Like it's not even an excuse, but it is a little bit of a reason for a little bit of our performances this year. Like the team we've got now, we've got a bunch of guys who weren't even on our list last year playing, and guys who weren't even on our list probably mid-season. Guys like Flynn Youngs and and it's great to trial those guys out, but that's why you don't get wins, because you've just got guys who haven't been in the system for a while. And I know with Wright's decision to back in Voss, he did speak about the game plan in terms of the contest, and how he was saying we've played pretty good footy in that game plan in previous seasons, and I kind of agree, because I know we've spoken about the game plan now, but it's hard to put your game plan into full fruition and get it working when you got like, I think Newman is probably top 5 crucial players in the team. I know we've got the big 5. But I think ball use wise, he's huge. Defensively, he's huge. Yeah. Cottrell is huge. Massive. Like he's best 22. I don't know why people didn't have him in there at the start of the year. I know he's one of those guys who should he be a lock? I think so, because I just think he's the modern day winger. I just think he's the perfect runner. Doesn't have to play on the wing. Could play fucking halfback, half forward. He's that running capacity that you need. We don't have that at the moment. We're lacking that. You can talk about Elijah Hollands. What has he played? 3-4 games this year, and he's looking like he might return for the last 2 games, which is quite interesting. But it's a lot of players out, but also he knows. He sent a message to a lot of these players going, "We don't have enough good players," which is just unbelievable to think about. That he said that with 2 weeks to go before the season even ends, because there'd be a lot of players going, "Is he talking about me? Is he talking about, the 100%?" They'd be thinking that, which is funny to think about. But that's it's got to be brutal. And you've also, he's not going to cut the list fully, but it's, he knows that there's players that we need to bring in through free agency. And there's already been talks about Liam Ryan and Malcolm Roses as two. I'd probably go on the side of Roses if I was me, just in terms of age. I know Liam Ryan can kick goals and he's got the experience, but it's going to be an interesting 3 to 4 weeks. I'm just like, yesterday I was thinking, I just want to get to the end of draft, end of trade, and just know who we've got in the next year, because I just want to see what they've done with the list, and also that, the coaching changes and the head of footy.
Heading into the trade period right now, your thoughts? Do you reckon we will be more aggressive from a draft point of view? Do you reckon we'll be more aggressive from a trade and free agency point of view? Or do you reckon we will just back in our list and probably add like maybe 3 or 4 additions, whether that's in the draft or whether that's in the trade period? I mean, we obviously know that we will be getting Harry Dean as well. So that's one really good draftee, and maybe a few others, whether it's an academy player, I'm not too sure. But do you think we like which kind of asset do you reckon we will be targeting? Do you reckon it would be free agency, trade, draft, like the draft, or do you reckon we would just try and back in our own talent internally?
I think it's like, I don't want to sit on the fence, but I think it's a little bit of both. I think we've got a lot of good players, but yeah, I think building around, those players is huge. Whether it's, I think they'll attack the free agency and trade period pretty hard and smartly. I don't think they're just going to go on, here's a first round. Well, we don't really have a first round pick, and well, we will with TDK, but that could be used for something. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see like what our salary cap is looking like, because do you use a top pick to trade for a guy like Butters, or do you, like it's a very interesting situation. Do you go for another A grader in the guts? I don't know, but you look at Collingwood, and I know they're going in a bit of a spiral at the moment, but and so similar to Geelong, they go for players in the free agency market. They get guys on the cheap at the trade. They don't give up too much. And, I think if we're interested in guys like Malcolm Roses, they're not going to cost you much. He's a guy who's played 4 games this year. He was a sub on the weekend. And, that's how your trade value is just, he might be a great player, but they've got nothing to lean on. And Carlton might look at that and go, okay, we'll just give them a second or third rounder, or I don't know if he's contracted. Is he contracted?
I think he's out of contract this year.
Yeah, so there you go. So he is a free agent. So that'll make it 10 times easier to get him through the door, especially if you're guaranteeing a guy game time. But yeah, it's, like you said, we've got the draft pick in terms of Harry Dean. We know that's going to happen. We've got the academy kids in Jack Ison, who's probably going to push into the top 20, which I'm very excited about. He's another midfielder to add to the mix, to our young mix, which is becoming our midfielders, Smith and Cooper Lord, and then him as well. And you got Camporelli in there, and it's really exciting. And like I said, it's so many questions, but I'm excited where we can go next year with the Graeme Wright. And I've said I don't want to treat him as a messiah, because we've been led down a path a lot of times as Carlton supporters going, oh yeah, next year we're going to be, we're going to be the team. But I think if the decisions he makes are right, that'll fill me confidence for the months leading up to round 1.
Yeah. Wouldn't it just be shit if he's stepping into a new role and he's just complete dog shit where probably at the bottom of the ladder next year and we're probably to rebuild in 5 years' time, for fuck's sake. Don't even want to say that. But Malcolm Roses, he is out of contract this year.
Sweet.
And he's also, his contract status is a non-free agent.
Oh, wow.
Which means that if he is not signed, he's delisted. So that means that,
okay, yep.
Yeah, so that means that like we could probably poach him even in the draft, like whether it's the national draft or even the preseason. I mean, I probably would like to sign him soon, because I think a few clubs would be onto him as soon as possible. But that's quite interesting seeing that, because I thought he may have been unrestricted, but he hasn't played enough years. So that is very, very interesting. But Dash Boy, let's now move straight into our initial ins and outs. But before we do, I've just got answer this yes or no. Sam Walsh, does he play?
Yes, he plays.
Swing straight into your ins and outs. I'm very, very intrigued to hear what you have.
Yeah, so I've got 3 changes in this team. I've got 3 changes in the team. I've just made a late change in my brain.
Ooh.
So
You love the late change.
It's I'm kind of looking at visualizing the ground in my brain. And how we have our forward pockets in D50. But anyway, I'll start with the outs. This guy probably ruined the greatest ever Carlton comeback last week, and I think honestly, just for that reason, he has to be dropped. He ruined a great Saturday night at the footy with me mum. So Lockie Fogarty dropped. He's, I think he's contracted for next year, so he will be at the club next year. And I'm not saying he's not going to be a part of it, but oh man, he just has not been providing enough this year. And I know there's been injuries, and some of these guys are probably forced to play, but it's got to the point now where it's like, come on, Fog, you got to be dropped, mate. My next drop is Jesse Motlop. He will be out of the team for me. I know he had a good burst in the last quarter, but I don't know if one burst out of 23 weeks is probably enough for me. And I'm intrigued to see what they do with him. I think they will re-sign him, but it's an interesting call. It's an interesting call in my opinion. I don't know if he wouldn't be delisted, but well, I've seen crazy things happen, Patto. But my next omission, and it's been, I don't want to be. It's a tough decision. But the in will make sense when I drop this guy. I know we want this guy to get experience, but I thought he was just found out a little bit last week. I know Gold Coast have good smalls, but Billy Wilson, out for me. But the only reason why is because the in I'm bringing in.
Yeah.
So my first in's Sam Walsh. He comes into the team for me. I know I'm dropping 2 small forwards, but I'm kind of bringing in a half forward, small forward type player. Elijah Hollins will be in for me.
Wow.
In this team. I know I've been against him this year.
Wow.
I've been against him, but apparently he's firming to come back this week, I'm hearing. Apparently there is a very good chance he will play this weekend, which is just unbelievable, isn't it? So clearly during his time off, I guess he's put in the work. So he played on the weekend, played really well on the twos. I know it's a quick turnaround, but like I said with Walsh, I think the same mentality is let's get him a couple games now, and hopefully he doesn't, do whatever off the field. I don't even know what he's done off the field to cause his breaks, but I don't think it's a positive thing. But hopefully he gets himself right, because next year will be his last chance. That'll be his official last chance next year, in my opinion. We can't have this type of stuff lingering around. We've got to have these guys playing, and he's a talented player. So Holland's in for me. Obviously, I've said Walsh, and I've got a debutant. I have got a debutant in this team. He's been killing it off halfback in the twos for multiple weeks. Harry Charlson is going to be playing on the weekend. He has been, everyone's Twitter has gone off about him on the weekend. I've seen, it's not called Twitter anymore. Patto X. Sorry for the copyright issues there. X, but he has been, his performances have been really, really good in the twos. And he's got that pace. Like I said, I like the modern day halfback where he can take the game on. He's got speed. He can help a guy out like Sada, who did have a good second half last week. Hopefully he builds into that. So, yeah, Charleston for me is in. Get him in. It's a game where it's like nothing really on the line. Let's get his debut out the way, get his family up and about in the crowd, and then next year he's already played senior footy, and it's not like another hurdle. He's not debuting round 1. He's already debuted. So it kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off him heading into next year. And his performances have been warranted. So I don't see the issue of him playing. So, yeah, Charlton in for me. And the sub, I've put Durden in the starting lineup, because it gets a little bit silly when he's the sub every week, and I feel like he's one of those guys who can kick a couple against a shit team. So yeah, Durden in for me. It'll be interesting to see his call on his future, in my opinion. I think he is contracted for next year, but that doesn't always mean. I think teams can always find a way to delist players. I know people, it's a contract year. They can probably find a way to, pay him out somewhat and delist him if they really want to move on players like that. So, yeah, Durden on the ground and Flynn Young as the sub.
That is, I've got to admit, that is I was not expecting that. You don't usually make changes like that, where it's like, Elijah Hollins, I feel like I've been a bigger fan of Elijah Hollins this year than you have. In a way of
100%.
I'm like, I want to give him the chance, but then you're like, why the fuck would you give him the chance when he doesn't when he has he has the opportunity to be one of the best footballers, and he's just not really taking it into hand. It's like Uwe Hagen, but that is very interesting. Now, I'm going to stick with my ins and outs. My opinion on that, Elijah Hollins, is I don't want him anywhere near senior football to end the year. I want him to just get through, get
I don't mind that too.
back to playing football, and then head into next year. Hopefully, have a good preseason. I was shocked by all of it. The outs of Motlop and Fogarty, I've kind of realized you're probably right. But very, very, very interesting. But I'll start off first with my outs. And they're pretty straightforward, I think. So Wilson, Very, very unlucky, but obviously that's because Walsh is in. Lockie Fogarty, I didn't have him out. And then as soon as you said that, I'm like, oh shit, I probably should have him. Because also, I forgot the Fantasia's back as well. So Orazio, Fantasia. So have you got him in? No.
No.
Okay, so you don't have Fantasia in yet. So I've got Fantasia definitely in. So he will be in for Fogarty. Now my last out.
Yep.
Tom DeConning. Out. Because I want to give we are back to the round 15, round 16. Point of the season, that boy. Yeah. But his efforts, I don't know how that can be acceptable.
No.
I think the only reason why it's acceptable is because he's Tom DeConning, which I don't think that's right at all. Like, he shouldn't have an ego like that where he's Tom DeConning. He's not like he's fucking Nat Fife or Patrick Cripps.
No.
He's Tom DeConning. So, Tom DeConning, out you go. That will be your last game for the Carlton Football Club. And we are looking forward to seeing you at the Saints next year when you literally win fucking 3 games and you're getting paid so much when Nazai Wangmiller and Ron Marshall are on their bike and you're literally taking up 20% of their salary. That's all I'll say. And then
that's all I'll say. This is a whole paragraph about how bad the Saints are going to
be. That's all I'll say. Goes on a fucking like a 10-minute rant. Sam Walsh in, Orazio Fantasia in, as I've already said, and obviously if TDK's out, I'm bringing Mark Pitnet. I don't know why he's fucking dropped.
Yeah.
I don't know why he was dropped. I think the other reason why was because of Hudson O'Keefe, and I think Hudson O'Keefe, I like him as that ruck forward.
Yeah.
And TDK, like Mark Pitnet is a better ruckman than TDK at the moment.
Yeah.
So we are going up against like a team like Port Adelaide where their rucks aren't overly great. So let's try and dominate. Like I would assume it would be Pitnet up against Sweet. So that's a good kind of combination. Dominate. And then TDK, if you want to not try for a game that you kind of need to try and you've been given the opportunity to be the sole ruckman again and you don't, nothing changes, out you go. Like I'm fucking over it. I'm so fucking over it. And my sub, I'm upgrading Durden into the best 22, but I'm going to sub Jesse Motlop.
Yeah.
So that is my changes, Daffy Boy. But you know what? We've got 10 minutes. So I'm going to say this right here, right now. We're going to scrap the opposition watch.
Oh.
We will scrap that unless you want to very quickly just go through and name some names.
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I'll go through. I'll quickly go through the players that stand out to me. So last week, Aaliyah played really well. He kicked a goal. I think he had 22. They almost won that game last week. So, of course, they're in half-decent form. Port Adelaide heading to our game, of course. But, yeah, Aaliyah, he will probably have to take – he'd have to take Harry, I'd imagine.
Harry?
Yeah, no, I don't mind that matchup. So, and Harry looked the goods last week. I like the look of Harry last week. And another one, Willem Drew. He's a tagger, of course. He seems to go to Cripps. Kept him quiet last time, but Cripps had that kind of illness in that Port Adelaide game. He wasn't definitely right. He had that kind of under compression shirt, and he was a bit like he was crook as. And quickly, a fun fact: we have only won 1 game since that game.
Melbourne.
Oh God. And you know, I can't believe Melbourne even lost to us based on. I actually think Melbourne have been all right the last few weeks, actually. But so Willem Drew and another one for me. Can we keep him quiet? I think we can. He's been in decent form. Mitch Georgiades. Do you go Weeders to him? Or does Weeders go to a Lord? I know Lukosius is under injury cloud. Did he go off the game on the weekend? I'll have to go on the match report quickly here. He did go off the ground at some stage of that game. Yes, he had a leg injury, so he might not be playing, which is obviously a disappointment for them. But yeah, so I'd imagine if he doesn't play, he'd probably go Weeders to Georgiades in terms of best defender. I know Weeders has been out of form, so I'm a little bit worried about that. But yeah, those are my 3 players, Patto.
Yeah, I mean, you could even probably put Connor Rosie down there as well because he was playing as a fucking key forward in the last quarter. I don't know if you watched that game, but they rolled him forward and looked like the bloody modern day Nazai Wanganeen Miller, even though he is the modern day Nazai Wanganeen Miller. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore.
Modern day. Modern day.
I think you said, "Oh wait, hang on, modern day.
No.
It's fucking the 13th of August. It's
Yeah.
today." But I like the names that you said. I just thought I'll very quickly go through some names as well, Daffy boy. I probably will mention Kane Farrell. I think off the halfback, he's been very, very good. So he could be a threat, especially with his ball use.
Absolutely.
I think he definitely dominated against us earlier on in the season, so that could be a big threat. I know that I usually like to go with the sort of the general names, and I will go with Zach Butters. In that midfield, he's just an absolute freak.
Yep.
And if we have 1.1, 1.2 available in the salary cap, I would wish that we would throw some money at Zach Butters to lure him to the Carlton Football Club, because I would love him at the club alongside Paddy Cripps, Jagger Smith, Sam Walsh. My good golly.
Surely they asked the question. Surely
100%.
they asked the question.
You can pretty much just lock in the you can pretty much just lock in the 2026 premiership next year, definitely.
You can engrave the cup already.
Zach Butters joins Carlton. All right, Carlton 2026 premiership.
The one thing with Butters quickly, he definitely is the modern day Wanganeen Miller, in my opinion.
That will come back to haunt me for the rest of my life, I But the forward line. You know what? I'll go with a bit of a different one. Darcy Byrne-Jones.
Yes, I like it. I really like him.
I really like him as well. I mean, he was obviously an All-Australian half-backer a few years ago. Yeah. And then when he transitioned forward, I was like, what the fuck? But he's been so good ever since. So that is definitely a name that that's a move that's definitely worked for Port Adelaide. So Darcy Byrne-Jones could definitely be a threat in the forward line for the Power Daffy boy. Now, let's now move on to the match predictions. I assume you will probably pick a certain modern day Sam Walsh in the match predictions, Daffy boy. But I'll throw it straight to you. Your bagger of the game, point of difference, winner plus margin. I'm very, very intrigued to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, so I'll go through these now. Best on ground, Harry Mackay. I think Aaliyah, I know the last game I wouldn't even count the last Port Adelaide game we played, because that was the worst thing I've ever seen. That was probably the worst game of the year. Was that probably the worst game of the year?
Yeah.
There's been a few.
That on North. North was pretty bad. North was pretty bad, no?
Yeah. I'm laughing at the fact how bad our season's just been. Like we're just reeling off how these bad games, like it's nothing. And there's a few others, I guess, the Collingwood the second time around. But yeah, I think the Port Adelaide one, like we didn't kick a goal before half time, so it's hard to really judge. But Aaliyah seems to struggle against our keys in the past. I know he struggles on Charlie, but yeah, I want to see Harry kind of get a look at it, because you look at their defense and like Zerk Thatcher's their second tall. Like he's really no good at all, as you can see with Patto's camera there. But yeah, so best on ground, Harry Mackay. Point of difference, Harry Charlison.
Wow.
He has been very, very good off halfback. He deserves a game. He actually deserves a game. So, whether they make that call will be interesting, but he has been really, really, really good. I did have a look through his stats yesterday over the last few weeks, and people, reading some VFL reports, and he has been in our best players each week. So, why not give the kid a go? He definitely would be a point of difference if he does play. Now, winner plus margin, Patto, it's always a highly anticipated part of this video, both of our calls. But yeah, Carlton are going to win this game. I actually think we get. I'm going to. You know what I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with the way you finish the last game is the way you start the game this week. I feel like the young guys had a bit of a. The crowd was getting up and about last week. They probably had their first taste of the Carlton roar, because last week, that's what I said in the review. It was the first time I've actually been to the game where the crowd has gone off their nana. I'm out of my fucking seat, Patto, for a round 22 game on a Saturday night against the Suns. So they had that experience. Carlton need to win this game by 20 points. And yeah, hopefully just get something done. I want to see these young guys get around a couple wins heading into next year, especially when they've got opportunities to play. Because heading into next year, it's going to be harder to get spots. But I think this year is a very easy team to crack into, unless your name is Harry Lemmy.
Yep, Harry. Yeah, well, that's another name. Just a quick one on Harry Charlson. So I don't know if I mentioned it earlier when I was going through the contracts, but Harry Charlson, he's out of contract this year as well.
Yeah.
So you would expect him to re-sign?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then also like a Billy Wilson is another one who's out of contract. Chin Cotter as well. There's a few other names there, Daffy Boy. But love your predictions, and I'll go through mine very quickly, Daffy Boy. Best on ground. The return of Sam Walsh. Just, I'm smiling. A 33-touch game, a 2-goal game. Walsh will dominate. And you watch, he probably won't even be playing this way because he probably won't be managing the rest of the season. Point of difference. I will just say this. Frank the Tank Evans. He will be my point of difference every single fucking week at this point.
Yeah, yep, love it.
He is the absolute definition of point of difference. So Frankie Evans will be my POD.
Yeah. Against the old mob. Against the old mob.
Oh yeah, against the old mob. Oh, well, I mean, it's a brilliant time for him to go out in on Marvel Stadium and dominate against the the old mob. And probably next week we'll probably play against another team. It'll probably be his old mob again. But winner plus margin, I'm gonna go with the Carlton Football Club.
Yeah,
33-point win.
Come on.
33-point win. And I feel like it's going to be, we will get a hot start.
Yeah.
And we will just keep them at arm's length the whole time.
Yeah.
So it won't be smashing it. We just need to find a way to hold a fucking lead. When we actually get ahead, hold the lead instead of actually letting him back in it. So I think,
love it.
All due respect to Port Adelaide, but they are pretty fucking shit. So I think we should definitely expect a win this week. Definitely, I don't know how because we've been playing pretty poor all year, but this would be a good way to finish the season and also get a win against the bye next week, Essendon Football Club. But Daffy Boy, before we wrap up the episode, is there anything else you would like to touch on before we move on to Saturday 1:20? Yeah,
all I can say is, with all due respect, Port Adelaide is shit. That is the best. Yeah, I'll tell you what, you've had some ripper quotes. Like, this has been a great episode of Patto quotes.
There's no way getting me on the modern day footballer.
Modern day, and then that one just then was just the cherry on top. Like, actually a good call. Like, actually funny. With all due respect, Port Adelaide is shit. So I'd imagine if you said that without all due respect, I imagine what you said. But yeah, I'll be working in the game on Saturday, so hopefully if we win, you'll see my big head in the rooms. Hopefully you don't see me in the rooms with Aaliyah.
Yeah, well, let's hope we find you somewhere in the rooms, and let's hope we find you first in the Carlton rooms because you go to the winners room first. So let's just hope that the baggers get the job done. But to every single blue bagger out there, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Make sure to get around our podcast platforms, whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, and Amazon Music as well. And get around our socials as well while Daffy Boy's out there dancing like Frank the Tank Evans. But to you, Daffy Boy, and to every single blue bagger out there.
Up the baggers.